You didn't lose them. God moved them. I know that might be hard to hear right now, because losing someone you loved doesn't feel like God doing something good. It feels like something breaking. It feels like something being ripped away from you before you were ready. Her name was Sarah. Sarah was 29 years old. She lived alone in a small apartment in Atlanta. It wasn't fancy, just a cozy little place with good morning light coming through the window. On her bedside table, she kept her Bible. Not for decoration. She actually read it every single morning. Before the day got busy. Before the noise started. Sarah loved God. Really loved Him. Not just on Sundays. Every day. You could see it in how she treated people. In how she spoke. In how she showed up even when nobody was watching. She was warm. She was kind. She listened when you talked. She prayed for people. She was, in every way, a good person. And she was single. She had prayed about that many times. She had asked God, quietly and honestly, to bring the right person into her life. She wasn't desperate. She was just ready. And she believed God heard her. Then one Thursday evening, she walked into a small group at her church. And she met Marcus. Marcus was not loud. He wasn't trying to impress anyone. He was calm. The kind of calm that makes you feel safe just standing near him. He listened carefully when people spoke. He remembered small details. He asked questions because he actually wanted to know the answers. When he met Sarah, when their eyes met across that small room, something happened that she couldn't explain. That night, she called her best friend. I met someone, and I don't know. It just felt different. Different. That one small word that changes everything. Within weeks, they were inseparable. Texts in the morning. Long phone calls at night. Conversations about God, about dreams, about the future. Marcus told her things he said he had never told anyone. Sarah found herself being more honest than she had been in years. One evening, sitting in his car outside her apartment, Marcus looked at her and said, I think God brought you into my life for a reason. Sarah's heart stopped. Because that, exactly that, was what she had been praying to hear. A man who spoke about their relationship and included God in the same breath. She believed him completely. And why wouldn't she? It felt so real. It felt so right. The first year was beautiful. They prayed together. They served together. They talked about the future like it was already happening. Her family loved him. Her friends said, he is the one. Sarah had never been happier. But here is the part nobody tells you when everything feels wonderful. When you love someone deeply, you can slowly start to disappear into them. It doesn't happen all at once. It happens quietly. The way water slowly rises, you don't notice until your feet can't touch the floor anymore. Sarah had a journal. She had kept it for 3 years. A worn notebook where she wrote her prayers and her dreams. She had also been planning a small business, something she had been praying about for 2 full years. Something she genuinely believed God had placed inside her. But evenings were for Marcus now. So the journal went on the shelf. The business went on the shelf too. She told herself, I'll come back to it later. Some friendships got quieter because her time was full. Her boundaries, the ones she had always stood firm on, started to bend. Just a little at first. Then more. Not because Marcus forced her, but because love without proper roots will make you give up things you were never supposed to give away. She was still going to church, still praying, still reading her Bible. But the bold, dreaming, building version of Sarah had gone very quiet. And nobody had noticed. Not even Sarah. The second year felt different. Not like something was broken. More like something was off. The way a song sounds when one note is slightly wrong, you feel it before you can name it. Marcus started pulling back. Not physically, he was still there. But something in him was somewhere else. Conversations that used to go deep started feeling shallow. The prayers they used to pray together, he stopped showing up for those. A distance had appeared in his eyes. Sarah noticed. But she did what so many people do when they are in love and something is going wrong. She explained it away. He's tired. He's stressed. Be patient. Love endures. She prayed harder. She tried to take up less space. She adjusted herself again and again, hoping that whatever was pulling him away would stop. It didn't. And then came a Tuesday. A normal Tuesday morning. Sarah was at work. She had her coffee. She had meetings. Everything was ordinary. Her phone buzzed. She looked down. A text from Marcus. She picked it up and read it. And in 37 words, her whole world stopped. I won't tell you exactly what those 37 words said, because every person reading this has their own version of that moment, their own version of that text, that phone call, that conversation, that silence that slowly became something permanent. The words are different for everyone, but the feeling is the same. The ground disappears, the air leaves the room, and you are standing in the middle of your own life. Same coffee, same desk, same everything, but something has been taken from the center of it, and the space it left behind is enormous. Sarah sat in the car park for 45 minutes. She couldn't go back inside. She couldn't go home. She didn't have words yet, so she did the only thing she knew how to do. She talked to God, not a proper prayer, just broken words falling out between breaths that didn't work properly. Why? Why? I thought you sent him to me. I prayed. I believed. I trusted you. Why would you let this happen? And God, in that car park, on that Tuesday, was quiet. The weeks after were the hardest Sarah had ever lived through. She stopped eating properly. She went through the same routine every day. Wake up, work, come home, try to sleep, but nothing felt real. She sat in church and couldn't sing. She opened her Bible, and the words blurred. She started to pray and ran out of things to say. At night was the worst, because at night the distractions stop, and it is just you and the quiet and the questions that have no answers. What did I do wrong? Was I not enough? Is something broken in me? She checked his social media. She promised herself she wouldn't. She did it anyway. She felt worse every time. She closed the app. She opened it again. This is what grief does. It makes you do things your better self would never do. 3 months passed, and then something happened. It was a Sunday afternoon. Sarah was cleaning her apartment, the restless kind of cleaning you do when you don't know what to do with yourself. She was in her wardrobe, moving things around, when she found it. Her journal. The one she had stopped writing in when Marcus came into her life. She almost put it back, but something made her sit down on her bed and open it. She started reading, and as she read through her own pages, her own prayers, her own words from before Marcus, she felt something she did not expect. She felt like she was reading about a stranger, but not in a bad way. The woman in these pages was on fire. She was bold. She had big dreams, and she wrote about them without apologizing. She had a plan for her life and her business written out in detail. She prayed big prayers and believed they would be answered. Then Sarah turned to one entry and stopped. She read it 3 times. It said, I feel like I am becoming something. I don't know exactly what yet, but I can feel it. I want to be careful not to let anything slow that down. Sarah sat very still. I want to be careful not to let anything slow that down. She had written those words herself, and then Marcus arrived, and she had let everything slow down. No, she had stopped it completely. She had packed her dreams in a box and pushed them to the back of a wardrobe. She had set herself aside as if she could just press pause on who she was becoming and pick it back up later with no cost. But there is always a cost. Sarah felt the weight of it sitting there on her bed. She hadn't only lost Marcus. She had lost herself first. Slowly, quietly, without even realizing. She had poured so much into loving someone else that she had stopped taking care of the person she was supposed to become. And when Marcus left, she had pointed all her pain at him, all her questions at God about him. But sitting here now with her journal open, she understood something new. The grief was not only about Marcus. She was grieving herself, the woman in those pages, the dreams on the shelf, the version of Sarah that had gone quiet. She closed the journal. She looked up, and for the first time in 3 months, she did not ask God, why did you take him? She asked something different. What were you trying to protect? And slowly, over the weeks that followed, God began to answer. Not in a loud voice, not in a big dramatic moment. In the quiet way God usually speaks. Through small things, through the right verse at the right time, through a feeling in her chest that felt less like emotion and more like direction. Sarah started writing in her journal again. Just a few lines at first, then more, then whole pages. Then she was staying up late not because she was talking to someone, but because she couldn't stop writing. Because something that had been blocked was finally moving again. She pulled the business idea off the shelf. She dusted it off and looked at it properly. And it surprised her. It was better than she remembered. Clearer. Like something had been quietly developing in the back of her mind, even while she wasn't paying attention to it. She started working on it. 1 hour in the evenings at first. Then more. Then it became the thing she woke up early for. And for the first time in a long time, she felt like herself again. Not the version of herself that had disappeared into someone else's story. Her own self. Her full self. She reconnected with friends she had let drift away. She said yes to opportunities she had been too distracted to see before. She sat in church one Sunday and realized, somewhere in the middle of the worship, that she was actually worshiping. Really worshiping. Not going through the motions. Actually feeling something. Actually meaning the words. Her faith unclenched. That is the best way I can describe it. Her faith had been like a tight fist, holding on hard to one specific prayer. Bring him back. Fix it. Give me what I asked for. But as the months passed and the business grew and the journal filled up, her fist slowly opened. And in opening, it became able to receive something it could never have held while it was clenched. 4 months after that Sunday with the journal, Sarah launched her business. Small. Simple. Nothing that would make the news. But real. Something that existed in the world now. Something that had her name on it. Something she had built with her own hands and her own faith during a season that had once felt like punishment. It grew. Slowly. Steadily. The way real things grow when they are planted in good soil. 3 months in, she had her first 10 clients. 6 months in, she needed to hire someone. A year in, she was being invited to speak at events. Women were reaching out to say that what she was building had given them the courage to take their own dreams off their own shelves. A community grew around it. Women in Atlanta, then Georgia, then even further. She was becoming exactly what she had written in that journal. Something is being built inside me. It had been. The whole time. Even during the car park Tuesday. Even during the sleepless nights. Even when the Bible words were blurring and the prayers ran dry. God had been building her the entire time. And the removal, the painful, confusing, faith-shaking removal of Marcus had been part of the construction. And yes, she did eventually meet someone. But before I tell you this part, I need to say something important. This is not a story where love is the reward at the end. Romance is not the prize that made all the pain worth it. Sarah becoming herself, that was the prize. Sarah building what she was called to build, that was the prize. Sarah getting her faith back, her voice back, her dreams back, that was the prize. The person who came later was a beautiful addition to a life that was already full. Not the missing piece of a broken life. He came into her life about 2 years after Marcus. And the first thing she noticed, the very first thing, was that she did not feel like she had to make herself smaller to stand next to him. He was not looking for a quieter, safer version of Sarah. He was drawn to exactly the woman she had become in the space Marcus left behind. He asked about her journal. He prayed over her business. He celebrated the full, big version of her without feeling threatened by it. And one evening, Sarah said something to him quietly. She said, "If Marcus had stayed, I never would have become the woman you found." Read that one more time. If Marcus had stayed, she never would have become the woman the right person would find. The love she had prayed for needed a version of her that could only be built in the empty space the removal created. God was not keeping her from love. He was keeping her for it. The separation that felt like punishment was actually the most loving thing God could have done. Not for Marcus. For Sarah. So let me talk to you now. Whoever you are. Wherever you are. Whatever version of his story belongs to you. God has not forgotten you. I know the silence can feel like he has. I know watching everyone else move forward while you feel stuck is one of the hardest things to sit with. I know that no sermon fully prepares you for what that kind of waiting actually feels like from the inside. But God does not work carelessly. He does not allow things to end without something beginning on the other side. He is not punishing you. He is building you. And he is building the right thing and the right person for the version of you that is being shaped right now. In this season, in this quiet, in this space that you never would have chosen for yourself, but that is doing something in you that nothing easier ever could. Every person who left your life was moved, not by accident, not carelessly, but intentionally, by a God who can see the full picture from where you cannot yet stand. And when you reach the place He is taking you, when you are finally standing in the life that required this season to build, you will look back and understand. Not everything, but enough. Enough to say with real conviction, that had to happen. That ending was a beginning. God was not absent in that pain. He was working through it. So here's what I want you to do right now. Think of the person you are still grieving. The one you haven't fully let go of. The one whose name still lands differently. The one you still talk to God about in the quiet moments. And instead of asking God to bring them back, ask Him to show you what He is building in the space they left behind. Because I promise you, the answer to that question will be worth more than getting them back ever could have been. God removed that person from your life on purpose. And the purpose is bigger than you can see right now. But it is real. And it is good. And it is for you. If this story reached you today, drop one word in the comments. Repositioned. That's all. Just that one word. As an act of faith. And share this with someone who is in their waiting season. Someone who needs to be reminded that God has not forgotten them. I'll see you in the next one.